switched it to come from.
Are the jurors up?
They are.
Doesn't look like it's very in focus.
No, that's wrong here.
That's normally when I turn off those two lights.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Are we ready to bring the jury in?
Yes.
Okay. Can we turn off the light when we're not doing it, or is that possible? Or are you afraid to touch it? I think what they do sometimes, that's good, yeah. Sometimes they just put something in front of it. That way it's not so glaring.
All rise, jury present.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, has anyone read or been exposed to reading newspaper headlines and/or articles relating to this trial or its participants? No. Has anyone seen or heard television, radio, or internet comments about this trial? No. Have you read any news headlines or articles relating to this trial or its participants? No. Have you conducted or been exposed to any research regarding any matters concerning this case? And have you discussed this case among yourselves or with anyone else, or allowed anyone to discuss it in your presence? No. Okay, who would be the next witness on behalf of the state?
The state would call Andrea Zion.
Ma'am, if you step up before the clerk to be sworn.
You solemnly swear affirm any testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Okay, if you'll have a seat in the witness chair, once seated, if you'll scoot your chair forward, do adjust that microphone and do talk into that microphone. It helps us hear your testimony. It also aids in recording your testimony.
Ma'am, could you please state your name, spell your first and last name?
Andrea Ziarno, ANDREAZIARNO.
And how are you employed?
I'm a firefighter paramedic with Brevard County Fire Rescue.
And how long have you been so employed?
15 years.
And Ms. Diarno, can you tell the jury what is a paramedic?
A paramedic is someone who is trained and able to perform advanced life-saving in a pre-hospital setting.
And were you on duty on March 6, 2012?
Yes,
Were you dispatched to a location on Elena Way off of John Rose Boulevard?
yes, sir.
And when you were dispatched there, can you tell the jury what the scene was when you arrived?
When I arrived, there were officers standing over Deputy Pill, Melbourne Fire Department, and my crew were the first to make patient contact with Deputy Pill.
And do you know approximately what time it was when you arrived?
No,
Did you do, when you arrive to a patient, do you do an assessment on that patient?
yes, sir.
And did you do an assessment on Deputy Pill?
Yes, sir.
Tell the jury what that assessment was.
You're able to distinguish a patient if you have time to stay on scene, or if it's a load-and-go situation, if a patient is critical at the time. Deputy Pill was critical, and we knew we needed to get her to an appropriate trauma facility fast.
And when you observed Deputy Pill, was her gun still in her holster?
Yes, sir.
And did you in fact transport Deputy Pill?
Yes, sir.
And where was she transported to?
Holmes Regional Medical Center.
And as far as the time, would your records indicate the time of your assessment?
Approximately.
You may approach the witness.
Yes, you may.
After reviewing your record, do you know approximately what time it was that you performed the assessment on Deputy Pill?
11:21.
No further questions.
Okay, cross-examination by the defense.
No questions.
Okay, ma'am, thank you for your testimony. You're free to step down. Okay, other witnesses on behalf of the state.
The next item I'd like to address is Exhibit FG. Call first record.
Okay, and you want to introduce those into evidence?
Yes, these are the medical records from Health First.
Okay, FG will be received as State's Exhibit number 62.
State calls Lisa Connors.
Connors with a C?
Yes.
Ma'am, if you'll step up before the clerk to be sworn.
You solemnly swear affirm any testimony you should give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Please be seated in the witness chair. Once seated, if you'll scoot that chair forward, do adjust that microphone, do talk into that microphone. It helps us hear your testimony. It also aids in recording your testimony.
Good afternoon.
Please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
My name is Lisa Connors, C-O-N-N-O-R-S.
And how are you employed?
I'm a crime scene investigator with the Brevard County Sheriff's Office.
And what are your essential duties as a crime scene investigator for BCSO?
As a crime scene investigator, I investigate homicides, burglaries, robberies. We document the scenes, collect evidence, and process them.
And were you so employed on March 6th of 2012?
Yes, I was.
And on that date, did you have an occasion to become involved in the investigation of the shooting death of Deputy Barbara Bell?
Yes, I was.
What were you assigned to do?
I was assigned with assisting with measurements of the scene, marking items of evidence with photo markers, and then later recreating a formal diagram of the scene.
We've heard earlier testimony that there are several different scenes associated with this case. Which particular scene was it that you were assisting?
I was at the scene of John Rhodes and Elena Way.
And who were the other crime scene officers present at that location?
Crime scene investigator Stephanie Cooper and Sergeant Terry Laufenberg.
Who was the lead investigator?
CSI Cooper.
You, I believe, testified you assisted in making measurements and things of that nature.
Yes, I did.
Did you also prepare a diagram of the scene at Elena Way documenting where various items of evidentiary value were located,
Yes, I did.
as well as the vehicle locations?
Yes.
Approach the witness, Judge.
Yes, you may.
Showing you what has been marked for identification as State's Exhibit BZ, Bravo Zulu. If you look at that, tell me if you can identify.
This is the formal diagram that I created after we returned from the scene.
And is it an accurate diagram depicting the location of items of evidence that were collected at the scene as well as the vehicles?
Yes, it is.
Is it to scale or is it an approximation?
It's approximately to scale, as close as we can within a certain give or take.
The exhibit consists of more than just the first page diagram. There's also a couple pages of attachments to it. Is that correct?
Yes, there are.
Could you explain what the attachments are?
The attachments explain what the photo markers are, which are identifying items of evidence we collected at the scene, and then the measurements that we took to those items of evidence and other items within the scene in order for this formal diagram to be recreated.
And does the diagram and the attached documents accurately reflect the placement of the items that you found on March 6, 2012 at the Atlanta scene?
Yes, it does.
The statement included in this State's Exhibit.
Response from the defense? Okay, BZ will be received as State's Exhibit 63.
Request permission to publish tonight?
Yes, you may.
And I know what I'm doing here. while that's moving, let's talk about the attachments to the diagram itself. If you could just take it page by page and hold it up and show the jury, just explain what it is, and I'll let you use those to explain the diagram itself.
This page is just a list of the photo markers. They're represented in the diagram as a PM and then a number, which is what we use to identify the items of evidence later. So it's just a list corresponding the photo markers to what the actual item of evidence was. The next 2 pages are all of the items that we took measurements to in the scene, items of evidence, vehicles, driveways, and a fixed reference point so we could go back if we ever needed to recreate where these items were at the scene. So there's an east measurement and then either a north and south measurement, which is what we use to create this diagram.
All right, if you would bring the attachments down here, and I guess use my pen as a pointer,
Do you want me to turn off the light?
if that might be helpful, Judge. If you would use the pen as a pointer, and would you take the list of objects that are depicted on the diagram and take them one by one, explaining what they are and where they're located on the diagram?
Photo marker 57, which is here, is a piece, 52. Which is here, is a piece of skull fragment. Photo marker 53, which is here, is also a piece of skull fragment. Photo marker 54, here is a piece of skull fragment. Photo marker 55 is a fragment of copper jacketing. Photo marker 56 over here is a lens from sunglasses. Photo marker 57 is the frame of the sunglasses. Photo marker 58 is part of a vest. Photo marker 59 is clothing and a pool of RBS, which is a reddish-brown stain. Photo marker 60, which is here, is the left arm of a pair of sunglasses. Photo marker 61, here is a yellow metal cartridge casing. Photo marker 62, which is next to that, is also a yellow metal cartridge casing. Photo marker 63 is the yellow metal cartridge casing. Photo marker 64 is the yellow metal cartridge casing. Photo marker 65 is the yellow metal cartridge casing. Photo marker 66 is the yellow metal cartridge casing. Photo marker 67 is the yellow metal cartridge casing. And photo marker 68 is a piercing.
Were those items, and were those items collected by crime scene investigator Cooper?
Yes, they were.
Did you also have an occasion in assisting in the investigation to collect the buccal swab, DNA swab from the defendant, Brandon Bradley?
Yes, I did.
What is a buccal swab?
A buccal swab is basically a swab from the inside of your cheeks, which is a representation of your DNA.
And how is that done?
You take 2 swabs, just like a Q-tip, and they're just rubbed on the inside of both your cheeks, and then they're just put in a box, and that's all that you need in order to get that sample of DNA.
Right. What do you do with the box?
The box is then sealed in an envelope, and then it was turned over to CSI Cooper.
Do you know what would be done with the buccal swab once it's obtained?
After a buccal swab is obtained, it would get sent to the lab with any items of evidence and could be compared to any unknown DNA profiles that are developed on items of evidence that are sent in the same case.
Can I approach a witness, Judge?
Yes, you may.
Showing you what has been marked for identification, states Exhibit CA, Charlie Alpha. Would you look at that and tell me if you can identify that?
Yes, I can. These are the buccal swabs I took from Brandon Bradley.
How can you identify them?
Based on the case number, the item number, and my handwriting on the package.
Is that the package that you put the buccal swabs in?
Yes, it is.
Now, the buccal swabs themselves are in what inside that envelope?
They're inside of a white cardboard box.
At the time that you put them in the white cardboard box and then into that envelope and sealed it up, it just had your initials and your seal evidence tape on it. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And the condition it's in today has apparently been opened by someone?
Yes, it has.
Do you know what the reason for that was?
The yellow stickers and other evidence and numbers on here are from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement Laboratory.
So you would have sealed them up, they would have been transported to FDLE for further examination.
Yes, that's correct.
Further questions, Mr. McCutcheon?
Okay, cross-examination by the defense.
Obviously, when you got there to begin your job, that the deceased already been transported,
Yes, she was.
and the evidence as you found it, it was there at the point that you did your work, right?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
That's okay, let's hold on just one sec. Don't turn it off. That's okay, just put it on silent. Okay.
The locations were the various markers that you placed and from your diagram. That's as it existed at the point that you got there and began your work.
Yes, that's correct.
This is after fire rescue had been through, any other agents that were on scene. Is that right?
That's correct.
So as to where the items were immediately point of the shooting, you don't know.
No, there's always a chance that they could
The
be slightly off from, for whatever reason, as you said, BCFR coming in.
The buccal swabs, when you did the buccal swabs, you also did gunshot residue test on them?
That's correct.
And could you describe that for the jury?
Gunshot residue test, it basically consisted of two small stamps, they call them. They're kind of just a sticky tube. And there is a diagram within the gunshot residue kit that explains to you where you would stamp this tube onto the person's hand. There's different areas on the hand that they test. You push it on, and then you just put a cap on it, and it goes back in the envelope and seals it. You do that on both hands of the person being tested.
And presuming that it was forwarded to FDLE, well, does the department do its own testing?
No, everything that we collect for DNA, gunshot residue, something of that nature, is sent off to a state or private laboratory to be tested.
And assuming it was, there would be a similar envelope sealed with the various parties' initials.
That's correct. It would be a white envelope because it's a kit issued by FDLE.
No.
A redirect by the state.
Clarify something. Ms. Connors, you indicated that you obtained that buccal swab DNA sample from the defendant. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Do you see the defendant here in the courtroom today that you collected the buccal swab from?
Yes, I do.
Would you point to him and describe an article of clothing?
Sure. It's the male sitting at that table with a gray or black suit on with a white shirt.
Let the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant. No further questions?
A recross by the defense.
No, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am, thank you for your testimony. You're free to step down. Okay, other witnesses?
State calls Jennifer Miller.
Ma'am, if you'll step up before the clerk to be sworn.
You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
If you would, please state your name for the record and spell your last name.
Jennifer Miller, Miller.
How are you employed, Ms. Miller?
I'm a crime scene investigator with the Brevard County Sheriff's Office.
And how long have you been a crime scene investigator with PCSO?
Over 3 years now.
And did you have any experience prior to the 3 years with the Brevard County Sheriff's Office?
I did not.
What type of training and education do you go through to become a crime scene investigator?
I have a Bachelor's of Science in Forensic and Investigative Science from West Virginia University. And after being hired on with the Sheriff's Office, we go through a 16-week training course, specifically with the Sheriff's Office, before ever being allowed to respond to any crime scenes for the Sheriff's Office.
And were you so employed on March 6th of 2012?
Yes, I was.
On that date, did you have an occasion to become involved in the investigation of the crime scenes involving the shooting death of Deputy Barbara Pill?
Yes.
Which scene were you assigned to?
I was assigned to the Parkway Drive and Turtle Mound Road scene.
The vehicle ended up and the defendants were apprehended?
Yes.
And what, if anything, did you do to preserve the scene or to preserve the evidence of the scene?
I documented the scene with photographs and video recording, and also created a sketch and took corresponding measurements.
And did you prepare a diagram with the corresponding information on it?
Yes, I did.
Approach the witness, Judge.
Yes, you may.
Showing you what has been marked as State's Exhibit EM, Bravo Mike. For identification, would you look at that and tell me if you can identify it?
Yes, I can identify it.
And does it accurately set forth those items of possible evidentiary value in the relative locations at that particular crime scene?
Yes, it does.
State would move BM as its next exhibit.
Response from the defense.
Certainly.
Okay, BM will be received as State's Exhibit number 64.
Investigator Miller, if you would, I'm going to put this up here on the
Let me,
record within the lights. Could you step down here, ma'am? Using my pen as a pointer, just describe the areas on the diagram and what they represent.
Right here is Parkway Drive and Turtle Mound Road. This vehicle with the number 6 by it was a Ford Explorer, the suspect vehicle. Vehicles 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 were the Melbourne PD units that had responded. JM5 was actually a beer bottle that I collected from the scene, and here's the stop sign that was hit during the chase.
Say it again, please. Did you also document photographs?
Yes, I did.
I'm going to show you a series of photographs identified for identification as BN, BO, BP, BQ, BR, BS, BT, BU, BV, BW, BX, and BY. If you would, look at those to yourself and tell me if you can identify them.
Yes, I can identify them.
And do each of those photographs accurately portray that portion of the crime scene on Parkway Drive as you observed it on March 6th of 2012?
Yes, they do.
Take one of those in as its next number of exhibits.
Okay, response from the defense? Okay, BN will be received as states number 65, BO 66, BP 67, BQ 68, BR 69, BS 70, BT 71, BU 72, BV 73, BW 74, BX 75, and BY 76.
Request permission to publish.
Yes, you may.
Investigator Miller, I'm going to put these up one by one, and I'll give you the exhibit number, and if you explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what's being photographed. And we're going to start with exhibit number 65.
This is a south side of Parkway Drive leading into the ditch, and you can see the Ford Explorer there in the ditch.
And the little object that you can see off to the right-hand side of the vehicle appears to be orange and blue. Do you recall what that object was?
Yes, it was a comforter.
Showing what has been admitted as State's Exhibit 66.
This is a more close-up view of the vehicle as it was in the ditch. You can just see the back end and the undercarriage of the vehicle.
Exhibit 67.
This is just another view of the Ford Explorer from the opposite side of the ditch.
And you can see in the video, or not the video, the photograph, the tires apparently come off of the rim there on the front left of the vehicle.
Yes.
Exhibit 68.
This is another view of the Ford Explorer of more of the back end of the vehicle.
Exhibit 69.
This is a more close-up view of the items that were partially out of the back of the vehicle that you saw in the previous photograph.
Did you all remove the vehicle from the ditch?
Yes, the vehicle was removed from the ditch.
Exhibit 70.
That's the driver's side of the vehicle after it had been removed from the ditch.
Now, you weren't present when the officers broke out the windows in order to extract the occupants.
No, I was not.
Exhibit 71.
This is the photograph of the back end of the vehicle after it had been removed from the ditch.
Now, the items in the back of the vehicle that are observable there, that's the comforter you had mentioned previously.
Yes,
Are you also able to see that the front part of the air conditioning cover?
yes,
These items were actually physically taken into custody by the sheriff's office as well as documented in photographs. Is that correct?
correct. It just wasn't by me.
Understand. And does this photograph also display the license tag on the vehicle?
Yes, it does.
Do you know whether that matches the same tag number that was given by Mr. Malik, the manager of the Town Lodge, or that wasn't part of your investigation?
That was not part of my investigation.
Exhibit 72.
That's a view of the passenger side and the front of the vehicle after it had been removed from the ditch.
Shadow is a little bit difficult there. Can you tell whether or not the front right tire and the back tire on this photograph, they came off of the rims also?
I believe so. I can't really tell with that.
Yes, you may.
Yes, it was.
Now, as part of the processing of this scene, did you go inside the vehicle itself?
I did not.
These are all photographs that you were able to take from outside the vehicle.
Correct.
So exhibit number 73. Be able to make out what that is?
Yes. In the center of that photograph is a pistol magazine,
The object right here.
and it was actually against the passenger door.
Exhibit 74.
It's kind of hard to see in this photograph, but in the center is actually a photograph of the firearm, and this photograph was actually taken before the vehicle was removed from the ditch.
Now, this area here that appears to be open, you can just see the edge of the steering wheel coming this way?
Yes,
What was that area?
that was the center dash.
But apparently, he said come out of the center dash,
Correct.
and that's where you were able to observe the firearm.
Yes.
Showing you what is Exhibit 75.
This is a photograph of the firearm again, but this photograph was taken after the vehicle had been removed from the ditch.
But you were still taking the photographs from outside the vehicle.
Correct. I was taking the photo from outside of the vehicle.
The vehicle itself was impounded and taken to the sheriff's town yard or garage.
Yes.
Was a search warrant subsequently obtained and search done by other agents?
Yes.
And finally, Exhibit 76.
That is an overall photograph of the front seats within the vehicle.
I know the shadow area is kind of hard to see, but you can just see the little area of the dash in this area that has been broken open and it's where the weapon was located.
Yes.
Can you turn lights back on? No further questions?
Okay, questions by the defense?
CSI Miller, on March 18th, assist agent Cooper with the actual search inside the vehicle, correct?
Correct.
And do you remember locating a prescription, empty prescription pill bottle inside the car?
I do not personally remember.
But CSI Cooper was the one who basically led up that search.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, redirect on behalf of the state. Ma'am, thank you for your testimony. You're free to step down. Okay, other witnesses on behalf of the state.
State calls Stephanie Cooper.
Ma'am, if you'll step up before the clerk to be sworn.
Please tell me swear affirm any testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Please be seated in the witness chair. Once seated, if you'll scoot that chair forward, do adjust that microphone and do talk into that microphone. And, Mr. McMaster.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Would you please state your name for the record and spell your last name?
Stephanie Cooper, Cooper.
And how are you employed?
The Brevard County Sheriff's Office,
In what capacity?
crime scene investigator,
And how long have you been employed as a crime scene investigator with BCSO?
about 3 years.
And what type of education and training have you had to become a crime scene investigator?
I have a bachelor's degree from the University of Central Florida in forensic science. I also completed a 16-week course within the Sheriff's Office, and I continue taking classes.
Okay. And did you receive on-the-job training from the Sheriff's Office also when you began employment?
Yes.
Did you have an occasion to become involved in the investigation into the shooting death of Deputy Barbara Pill on March 6th of 2012?
Yes.
Did you get involved that particular day?
Yes.
What was your assignment?
I was lead crime scene investigator.
As lead crime scene investigator, did you determine which crime scene investigators went to which crime scenes to process them, or was that done by Sergeant Lawton?
That was done by Sergeant Hoffenberg.
You were just in overall charge of collecting and processing the evidence that was seized at the various scenes by the different investigators?
Yes.
Which scene did you process, or which scenes did you process yourself, and what exactly was it that you did?
I responded to John Rose and Elena Way, and I documented the scene via photos and video recording, and I marked items of evidence with photographic markers and collected those items of evidence.
As part of your duties that day, did you also have an occasion to collect a buccal swab from Andrea Kirchner?
Yes.
Where was that done at?
At our office, the crime scene or the criminal investigations division.
So that was done later in the day?
Yes.
Approach your witness, Judge.
Yes, you may.
Showing you what has been marked, State's Exhibit CD, Charlie Bravo, for identification. When you look at that, tell me if you can identify.
Yes.
How can you identify?
My handwriting on the front and my initials and date on the back.
And what is the object?
It is buccal swabs from Andrea Kirchner.
Right. Explain to the jury how you took the buccal swabs and what you did.
Buccal swabs are two swabs like a Q-tip, and I swabbed the inside of her cheeks, and then I placed them in the box and sealed the package.
And what kind of box do you put them
It's a double box that holds both swabs.
in? And did you put both swabs into the box and put those inside that envelope?
Yes.
Did you then seal the envelope up?
Not on that particular day, but it was placed into evidence.
Or you put it into evidence and sealed it at a later date?
Yes.
When was it that you actually sealed it up?
On March 10th.
And what was the reason for not sealing it between March 6th date when you collected it and March 10th when you actually sealed it?
I just,
Had so many
Had-
different things to process?
yeah.
Fair enough. Was it held in the custody of the Brevard County Sheriff's Office evidence room during that period?
Yes.
So no one else would have had access to it?
No.
Now, when you sealed it up, do you know whether or not it was sent off for examination by experts or analysts with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement?
Yes, it was.
How do you know that?
By the seal, the tape on the evidence package.
So FDLE actually opened up the envelope at another location and then resealed it when they were completed with their examination. Is that correct?
Yes.
During the time that it was in your possession, you do anything to change or alter or do anything at all to the swabs?
No.
Out of your way. Did you also have an occasion to photograph the scene at Elena Way?
Yes.
And was that for the purpose of preserving how the objects look there at the scene?
Yes.
Now, at the time that you processed the scene, Deputy Bill's body had been removed from the scene, is that correct?
Yes.
Was there some residual medical items and some clothing from Deputy Bill left at the scene that had been removed by the paramedics?
Yes.
I'm going to show you a series of photographs that have been marked CC through CS and ask if you can identify them. You want me to cite each individual exhibit number? Judge?
You're good. It's good.
And just look at them to yourself and then tell me if you can identify them when you're complete. Okay? Sorry. Have you had an opportunity to look? Really? If you would just look through those to yourself, and I'll ask you if you can identify. Have you had an opportunity to look at each of the photos?
Yes.
And can you identify those?
Yes.
And do those photographs accurately portray those portions of the crime scene that are depicted in the photograph as you saw it on March 6th of 2012.
Yes.
Statement of those in the 6 next numbered exhibits.
Response from the defense? Okay, I believe it starts with CC.
Correct, Judge.
CC will be received as State's Exhibit 77, CD 78, CE 79, CF 80, CG 81, CH 82, CI 83, CJ 84, CK 85, CL 86, CM 87, CN 88, CO 89, CP 90, CQ 91, CR 92, CS 93.
Request permission to publish the photo, Judge.
Yes, you may.
Turn the lights down. Investigator Cooper, I'm going to put the photographs up one by one and refer to them by exhibit number. If you would, just describe what's in the photograph for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I'm going to start with exhibit 77.
This is the overall scene. Looking west, John Rhodes is behind me. There's two deputy cars, one belonging to Deputy Pill and one belonging to Deputy Troop. And then in the center of the photo are items on the street.
Those be the clothing items and the medical items overlap.
Yes.
Exhibit 78.
This is looking from the other direction, facing east. And all of the items of evidence have photographic markers placed by them.
Explain what the photographic markers are and what they're used for.
It's a numbering system that we use for items of evidence that we collect. It's just easier to see them in a large space with the photographic markers.
Some of the items are quite small.
Yes.
For example, in this particular photograph, a number of those photo markers are placed next to spent shell casings with the weapon.
Yes.
Exhibit 79.
This is the same picture of the street looking to the west. And you can see the medical intervention equipment on the ground and the photo markers placed by the evidence.
Exhibit 80.
It's a picture of the street with photographic markers and clothing.
At this point, the medical equipment had been reclaimed by the paramedic, correct?
Yes.
So these are taken over the course of time, a period of time while you're there at the scene.
Yes.
Do you recall approximately how long you were there processing these things?
I don't recall exactly how long.
Exhibit 81.
This is just a closer view of the previous photo.
And does it show part of Deputy Phil's armored vest off to the left-hand side?
Yes,
And removed by the paramedics?
yes.
So it would be 2.
This is a close-up photo of the front piece of Deputy Phil's vest.
And what is in this area over here?
That is a defect from a bullet.
Exhibit 83.
This is just a close-up photograph of the defect in the vest.
Four.
It's another photograph of the front piece of Deputy Phil's vest with the photographic marker next to it.
Exhibit 85. I'm not sure if that's him.
This is a photo of the computer screen in Deputy Phil's vehicle when I arrived.
That was the condition, that was what showed as the last call she was assisting on.
Yes,
That you can see down here, it's referring to a stolen property case.
yes.
Exhibit 86.
This is a close-up photograph of a cartridge casing with photographic marker 61.
Now, the 61, would that correspond to the diagram that was made by Officer Hyman, I believe it was, of Elena Way and the markings that she put on the little diagram?
Yes,
So if I find the little number 62 on her diagram, that's what was located at that particular location, is this casing.
number 61, yes.
61, yes, thank you. Exhibit number 87.
This is a close-up photograph of another cartridge casing with photographic marker 62.
Now, that's a different casing than 61.
Yes,
Each of these with a different number would be a different casing.
yes.
Show me what is exhibit 88.
It's a close-up photograph of cartridge casing with photographic marker 63.
Exhibit 89.
Cartridge casing with photographic marker 64.
Exhibit 90.
It's a cartridge casing with photographic marker 65.
Now, the red marking there, that's markings that you all made to upload, located, display the items, so you can put the photo markers in.
Yes.
Maybe
It's a cartridge casing with photographic marker 66.
two.
It's a cartridge casing with photographic marker 67.
Found a total of 7 casings there at the scene in Laneway,
Yes,
all spent.
yes.
And finally, 93.
This is a piece of copper jacketing with photographic marker 55.
And that likewise would be located on Ms. Connor's diagram with the scene as to where it was in the overall location and the placement of the vehicles and other items.
Yes.
Turn the lights back on, Rich. In addition to photographing the items, did you also collect them?
Yes, I did.
What's the purpose of collecting the items?
I collected the items so that I could process them back in our laboratory.
Investigator Cooper, I'm going to show you items that have been marked for identification as CT, that's Charlie Tango, through DB, which is Delta Bravo, and ask you to look at each item in turn, and once you're finished, I'll ask you if you can identify them.
You're just doing the packaging or?
Can you identify them?
Yes.
How can you identify them?
My handwriting on the front of the packaging and my initials and date on the back, on the
And
seal.
with respect to each of those exhibits, what was it that you did with them?
I collected them from the scene and then processed them in the laboratory.
Describe the process, how you go about collecting them from the scene and the processing at the lab.
From the scene, I put them in packaging and transport them to the lab. And then in the laboratory, I process the items for DNA and fingerprints.
How do you do that?
I swab in a cartridge casing, for example, I swab the end where the rim is with the swabs and place them in packaging. And then I process them for fingerprints by using cyanoacrylate ester fumes or superglue fumes. And then I use a dye stain and then black powder.
Explain the process for trying to process for fingerprints using the super glue, the fumes.
The superglue fumes adhere to the oils by your skin that's left with the fingerprint.
You have to place them in some sort of tank or box or something to ingest the fumes in, insert the fumes into.
Yes, we have a large superglue chamber.
Now, if we could, let's start with item CT, if you can find that one. Of course, it's the last one. With respect to that particular item, when you packaged it up at the completion of your processing, how did you package it?
It's in a small cartridge box and then placed in the envelope.
And then you sealed the envelope?
Yes.
And was the envelope sent off anywhere for additional processing or testing?
It was sent up to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
That was for a firearms analyst to examine the object?
Yes.
What is the object that's contained within the envelope that's marked CT?
It's a projectile from Deputy Pill's vest.
Is that the one that was left on scene?
Yes.
So the projectile that was removed out of the defect that we saw in the photograph is in a package inside that sealed envelope?
Yes.
Now, at the time that you sealed it, it was still in the same condition as it was as you obtained it on March 6th of 2012, with the exception of anything that got on it from the super glue process or processing of DNA. Is that correct?
I actually didn't process this one. It just got sealed.
Okay. So that one just got sealed up.
Yes.
And did that one get sent off to FDLE?
Yes.
Okay, so set that aside. And you can tell it was sent off to FDLE how?
This tape with FDLE.
They opened it up and did what they did with it and then sealed it back up again.
Yes.
So the exhibit CT is in the same condition as it was when FDLE sealed it up at the conclusion of their examination at this point.
Yes.
Okay. CU. Can you tell us what the item is that's inside the envelope marked CU?
It's the copper jacketing that was at photo marker 55.
That was found on the ground at Elena Way?
Yes.
And is that sealed up also?
Yes.
And was that one sent off to FDLE?
Yes.
And the FDLE seal is still intact?
Yes.
All right, set that one off to the side. CB.
It's a yellow metal cartridge casing stamped PMC 40 Smith & Wesson at photo marker 61.
So that's the casing that we saw in the photograph where the photo marker 61 was displayed, is that correct?
Yes.
And what did you do specifically to process the casing?
I swabbed the end with DNA, and then I processed it for fingerprints using the super glue, the dye stain, and the powder.
Did you find any fingerprints or any labels of value?
No.
And was that sent off to FDLE for testing?
Yes.
And is that still sealed up with FDLE's seal?
Yes.
Set that one off to the side. CW.
It's a yellow metal cartridge casing stamped 40 Smith & Wesson found at photo marker 62.
Right. And is that one sealed up? Was that sent to FDLE also?
Yes.
Set that one to the side. Now, for all of these, the cartridge itself is in a cartridge box on the inside of the envelope. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you process all of them in the same manner?
Yes.
Were you able to find latent fingerprints of value on any of the casings?
No.
CX?
Yellow metal cartridge casing stamped PMC 40 Smith & Wesson from photo marker 63.
Likewise, is that sealed and been sent off to FDLE and been opened by them?
Yes.
Set it off to the side. CY?
Yellow metal cartridge casing stamped 40 Smith & Wesson found at photo marker 64.
Likewise, sent to FDLE and resealed by them?
Yes.
CZ?
Yellow metal cartridge casing stamped 40 Smith & Wesson from photo marker 65.
What was that number?
65?
Okay. Sealed by FDLE
Yes.
and we're at DA?
Yes. Yellow metal cartridge casing stamped 40 Smith & Wesson from photo marker 66.
Again, sealed by you and then opened by FDLE and resealed?
Yes.
And the last one, DB?
Yellow nail cartridge casing stamped 40 Smith & Wesson from photo marker 67.
So you had a total of 7 cartridge casings, 1 copper jacket, and then 1 full projectile that was removed from the body.
Yes.
Away. When you were completed with the collection and documentation of the evidence at Elena Way, did you at a later time assist in executing a search warrant on the white SUV vehicle that had been seized at the Parkville crime scene?
Yes.
Where was the search conducted
At our vehicle processing building.
at? And when was that done?
That was done on March 8th.
And did you do that by yourself, or did you have help?
I had people assisting.
And like you did at the crime scene at Elena Way, did you document the search that was conducted of the vehicle at the sheriff's office impound garage by photographing the items?
Yes.
Minutes. I'm going to show you a series of photographs, and I'll ask that you once again take a look at them to yourself, and I'll ask if you can identify them.
I did. You want to show it up to the light, make sure you can't see it on the other side? You want to have to white out the other. You want to have to do the other side too.
Cooper, I'm going to show you what have been marked for identification as exhibits DC through DP. Yes, Delta Charlie, Delta Papa.
I show that DD and DE have already been entered into evidence.
Correct, Judge.
Okay.
Make sure that they're not in the file. So it'll be exhibit DC, then DF, Delta Foxtrot through Delta Papa,
Okay.
and then DR, Delta, that was Romeo, Delta Romeo through EC, Echo Charlie.
Okay, wait a second. Got
We've got
DC,
DX has already been admitted also, so it would
so
be-
I've got DF through DP, right?
Correct. DR through DW,
Okay.
DY
DR through
EC,
DW, and then tell me again, what's the rest?
DY
Okay,
through EC.
okay. And DX and DE and DP have already been introduced.
That's correct, as exhibits 7, 12, and 13.
Exhibit 8, 12, and 13?
I believe it's 7, but maybe I've got it wrong. Trying to keep up with understanding it's not.
DX is 8, they're telling me. Okay, good.
We're all on the same page, Dan?
Yeah, we are.
If you would take a look at those again. You had an opportunity to look at each of the photographs?
Yes.
And do each of those photographs truly and accurately portray that portion of the vehicle crime scene items that are depicted in the photographs as you saw them on March 8th of 2012?
Yes.
State with me what goes in as its next number of items.
Response from the defense? Okay, DC will be states number 94. DF will be 95. DG, oh no, wait a second. Okay, that's right. DF 95, DG 96, DH 97, DI 98, DG 99,
It's DJ.
DJ 99, DK 100, DL 101, DM 102, DN 103, DO 104, DP 105, DR 106, DS 107, DT 108, DU 109, DV 110, DW 111, DY 112, DZ 113, EA 114, EB 115, and EC 116. I trust if I did that wrong, someone's going to let me know.
Looked good to me, Judge.
Okay.
I think I've been wrong about 4 or 5 times today.
No, it's just the machines were afraid to let you operate.
photos, please?
Yes, you may.
And I'm just going to put them up on the projector, and maybe if you could explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what's depicted in the photos. We'll start with Exhibit 94. Trying to eliminate the glare on the phone.
This is the front of the Ford Explorer.
And that's parked inside the sheriff's office in town garage.
Yes.
Where's that located?
850 Camp Road in Cocoa.
At the Brevard County Jail Complex.
Yes.
Exhibit number 95.
This is a photo of the front passenger side of the vehicle.
We saw through one of the other crime scene agents, I believe it was Agent Connors, at the Parkway scene. She had taken various photographs and had actually been able to see it, the weapon where it was located.
Yes.
Is that here in this little front dash area? You can see that the cover has been pulled off. I guess this was all the accident.
Yes.
It's 96.
This is a photo of the rear passenger side of the vehicle.
In the middle seat area,
Yes.
there'd be a cargo area in the back, there's a middle seat, and front passenger seats.
Yes.
Driver and passenger seat. And what were the items that are displayed in this area? If you recall.
I don't.
Is it 97?
This is the rear driver's side of the vehicle.
That same middle seat?
Yes. This is just a close-up picture of the middle seat.
And does it depict the pillows that have been taken from the hotel, the pillows?
Yes.
Exhibit 99.
You can't see it in the photograph very well, but
Supposed to be this one?
no, you were right. You were right the first one.
This one?
Yes. That's the top of the interior driver's side door. There's reddish brown stains on the top.
Exhibit 100.
This is a close-up photo of the stains.
Did you process the vehicle for the stains?
Yes.
How did you process it?
I swabbed the stains.
Did you send those off to FDA also?
Yes.
Exhibit 101.
This is the bottom corner of the front driver's side door on the inside.
Was there anything of particular significance that you observed that you took that photograph?
To the left of the black spot is a small blood stain.
102.
This is a close-up photo of the blood stain. This is the front driver's side door, the interior. There's a defect right above the armrest.
And when you say defect, you're talking about a hole.
Yes. This is the center console where the radio would be, and there's a firearm sticking out of it on the right.
This object over here,
Yes.
that would be the area where the clip would be inserted, and then it's upside down, and this would be the bottom of the trigger guard.
Yes.
Did you seize the weapon
Yes,
once you documented everything it was?
yes.
Exhibit 105.
This is the trunk portion of the vehicle?
I refer to as the cargo portion.
Yes,
Now, this is the comforter by the edging.
yes.
Exhibit 106.
This is a prescription bottle that was located within the vehicle.
Exhibit 107.
That is an Econo Lodge room key slip.
Originally showing a room 106 or 108, and then that's crossed out and it's room 268.
Yes.
Recall what portion of the vehicle that was located in?
It was located in a small red makeup bag that was in the back seat.
Exhibit number 108. This is laying on its side there.
That is a towel rack. It's the front piece of the air conditioning unit. That's the comforter that was in the trunk once it was laid out.
Exhibit 111.
That's a photo of pillows, sheets, and the air conditioning cover.
These are all items that were in the rear cargo compartment of the vehicle.
Within the vehicle, yeah.
Exhibit 112.
That is a brown trash can and then an Econo Lodge ice bucket.
Exhibit 113.
This was a suitcase that was located in the trunk of the vehicle, and that's a picture of the inside of the suitcase.
And what is the object that's down in this area?
Up a little towards the top
I'm sorry, I
is
didn't reach quite far enough right up in there.
it's a box of cartridges.
And did the items, clothing items inside the suitcase that's in Exhibit 113 appear to be male items?
Yes.
Exhibit 114.
That's a close-up photo of the box of ammunition.
Exhibit 115.
It's a photo of the box of ammunition and then the tray that was inside of it.
Now, did you examine the ammunition that was in the box?
Yes.
And was it the same caliber and type as the ammunition casings that you had recovered in Laneway?
It wasn't the same of all the casings, but it was of a couple.
And Exhibit 116.
This is just a photograph of the cartridges that were inside the tray.
And what, if anything, did you do to process those particular items, the tray and the emblem?
The tray I used the super glue fumes, the dye stain, and a dual-use powder. And the cartridges I swapped for DNA and did the super glue, the dye stain, and the powder.
And did you obtain any results from the processing of the tray?
Yes, I did.
What did you obtain?
I obtained friction-rich detail.
And how do you process a plastic ammo tray?
I use the super glue, the dye stain, and powder.
And how do you preserve anything that you develop?
I photographed the detail that I saw.
And what do you do with the photographs?
I turned them over to our identification unit.
And with respect to the items that were displayed in the photographs, the bedspread, the ice bucket, the trash can, the air conditioning cover, the comforter, the sheets, the pillows, all of those items, were they all taken into custody?
Yes.
Did you actually package them all up and keep them at the evidence room in the sheriff's office?
Yes.
Did Mr. Brown and I meet with you at the evidence room some time ago and look at them and see if we should be bringing them to court?
Yes.
Was the determination made not to bring physical items to court?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because they were muddy and they probably smell.
But you do still have physical custody of those items, but they're the same as is shown in the photographs?
Yes.
May I approach witness, Judge?
Yes, you may.
Showing what has been marked for identification is exhibit FE identification. Would you look at that and tell me if you can identify?
Yes.
And how can you identify?
My handwriting on the front and my initials and date on the back.
And what, if anything, is put inside the envelope marked FE?
It's an Econo Lodge room key from a wallet.
And where was the wallet found?
The interior of the vehicle.
Is that, do we have a photograph of the room key itself, or just the sleeve?
Just a sleeve.
And is the envelope still sealed up as you sealed it when you packaged the item?
Yes.
Go ahead and open it. Do you need a pair of scissors?
Not for this one.
Okay. If you would just look inside to yourself. Can you identify if the object inside is the same item that you collected from the vehicle and the person inside the vehicle on March 8, 2012?
Yes.
Is it essentially the same condition today as it was on the date that you collected it?
Yes.
State would move exhibit FE into evidence.
Response from the defense? Okay, FE will be received as State's Exhibit 117.
Showing you what has been marked for identification as Exhibit FF. Tell me if you can identify.
Yes.
And how can you identify?
My initials and date are on the seal.
And does that constitute items that you likewise seized that day? I guess the purse itself, or a number of different items in it?
Yes.
Does it also contain the room sleeve that we did see a photograph of?
Yes.
Is the room sleeve still inside the item?
Yes.
We get you to open that. Do you need scissors for that one?
Yes.
object in order to get to the sleeve?
Yes.
You would want gloves for that?
I can take it out of the bag.
Yes. Okay. Judge, do we need to remark that one as a separate exhibit? I don't need to introduce the entire purse.
You just want to introduce the,
Room sleeve. The key
it's
sleeve.
marked as O'Connell Lodge key sleeve.
Yes, but it was packaged in with a number of the other items for the purse.
Do we want that to be a separate exhibit?
Objection to all this in? Just keep it as one exhibit, Judge.
I mean, it can be FF, and it'll be the bag and the sleeve. Yes, can you examine it? Yes. It would be, let's go ahead and take a break, because we need to take a break. So, we're going to take a 15-minute break. We'll say it's 10 till, so be back at 5 after 3. During this break, you must continue to abide by the rules governing your service as a jury. Juror being part of the jury. Okay, thank you.
All rise.
Okay, please be seated. And I'll give the defense an opportunity to review that exhibit. Ma'am, if you'll stay there until they've reviewed it, and then we'll put it back in the bag, and then you can take your break as well. So court will be in recess.
There's other stuff.
Is there stuff in the bag?
Yeah.